Welcome from the Automotive Tech.AD Berlin 2016. I'm here with Per Gyllenspetz, who is a creative expert and mobility designer at KTH, Royal Institute of Technology in Sweden. Per, welcome to the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time to participate in an interview. First of all, do you mind giving us a quick overview of your professional background and tell us a bit more about yourself?
Sure. I've spent about 30 years developing mobility and car concepts. First at Volvo Cars and then later on at different car companies. And now, today at KTH, at the Integrated Transport Research Lab at KTH.
And you'll be leading a roundtable discussion tomorrow. And the main topic is what the impact of driverless vehicles will have on public and shared transportation. What insights are you hoping to get? And from your personal perspective, what impact do you think driverless vehicles will really have?
First of all, I hope to continue talking since actually last night on the icebreaker session, to continue talking with people about the two different avenues. One is to get private cars to go autonomous. The other one, which we're more interested in, is how can we make public transportation, and who owns the incentives, for example. Are they commercial or are they public, government, etc.? So this is that's the main sort of headline of the questions, and we'd actually like to encourage a discussion in a positive way, conflicting maybe the traditional car makers with new actors and their ambitions, and toss them together and listen to where do the arguments sharpen up and what happens in this discussion, and maybe also trying to induce some facts in it, and those that we own.
Okay. If we look at public transport at the moment, how it is, and if we just skip forward by, say, 20 years, and it could potentially look completely different, right? We're all covered by autonomous vehicles. What do you think are really the main challenges and risks that need to be overcome to actually achieve that in, say, 20, 25 years?
One of the questions that we are putting tomorrow is asking, if you had huge amounts of cash, what would you do with that cash if you were into autonomous drive and public transportation? For example, ex-company from Silicon Valley. You can do things pretty fast. It may not even have to take 20, 25 years. Maybe the first community in the world has some kind of system in even 5 years. In our view, in 10 years, we could have a few different systems. I think in the way that we are working at ITRL, at KTH, is to look at things from a holistic perspective. So at the moment, we're looking at bringing in both, for example, city stakeholders, like government and NGOs, and the commercial entities and the academic people like us, and invite for discussion, and sort of like we're doing tomorrow, but in a grander scale, and find some answers, because we cannot say today what is going to happen and describe it, I think, because it's such a white new page. And on that new page, there's a lot of different new things that's going to happen. So there's a great opportunity for people like our researchers and adjoining companies and authorities to actually answer the question that you're asking, and making a path for how events will happen.
Yeah.
So in our world, we think there's huge benefits for people, not only in cities but also in rural areas, to gain from using autonomous vehicles. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
To listen up and invite for discussions.
Absolutely. And going away from the topic of autonomous driving and coming actually back to the conference, what are your first impressions so far? What are you hoping to take away from the conference overall?
Even though I'm not into radars and lidars and all the statistics, it sort of gives me an underlying context of understanding what people are talking about. Sort of where is the business right now? What are the aspirations of Intel and all the other companies? There's a lot of context between the lines to understand from that. Also very sort of concrete for me, I get to meet possible people, organizations to cooperate with. And I get to sharpen up our argumentation and listen to all kinds of new and interesting facts. It's important for us, we're maybe on the long term. As you're asking, 20 years, maybe 10 years. In that way, we're not so much into the nitty-gritty programming and the hardware, but still that's sort of the growing platform for what is going to happen.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. That's really good. And I really hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Me too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.